Hello everyone. Welcome back to another Healing Through Awareness session. This is our sixth series, sixth part, and today we are going to be talking about self-love, which is a very important topic, and I believe it's a foundation to everything. And so my name is Viktoria. I'm a spiritual alchemist and astrologer and creator of the Heaven Method. And today I'm here with my amazing friend and colleague, Zsanett.
Hello everybody. Thank you so much, Viktoria, as always. Thank you so much for today. Today's topic is going to boom. It's going to be amazing. And as you said it yourself, it's the base of everything in terms of any part of our life. So who doesn't know me? My name is Zsanett, and I'm a qualified NLP and a mindfulness coach. I'm working mainly with women who are basically wants to heal through what we're doing now, through awareness. And so that's the whole subject that we brought up, so we can expand deeply and give them tools, right, to anyone who needs it, and use them in a daily life.
Yeah.
So
Amazing.
we chosen this topic, self-love. I think it's a very broad subject, self-love, because I think so let's start with you. So how did you obviously the self-love, it is something that it's we always cultivating. It's not just a one-off subject or a work. It is an ongoing business, because the emotions, the thoughts, the expectations that we have towards life in general create us that feeling within us, or feeling of sometimes unworthy, right? With low self-esteem, self-confidence, and that leads basically of not being there for each other when the time needed. So so Viktoria, let's start with you. Self-love. What is self-love means to you, and how do you actually bring it to your daily life? How you actually cultivate love towards yourself? What are the daily tools perhaps you use? Tell us a bit more about this subject. How you loving yourself?
Yeah. This is one of the as I said, the most important topics and practices that we can use and have in our daily life. And for me, as I said, like, self-love is the foundation to everything, because without self-love, nothing really sticks. Not boundaries, not confidence, not relationships. It's really the basis of everything. And how I like to think about this is that a lot of us actually don't love ourselves, because we are, in a way, we are actually looking, we are seeing ourselves as this ego or this body or our thoughts, our emotions, but actually, when you realize who you really are, the source, the creator, the one that is made in the image of God, then that shifts everything. Then you realize that you are actually love. So how can you not love yourself? That's the irony in everything. So
we are sort of love, right? That's why we should.
yeah.
But somehow, there's always the but, that even though we know we are source of love. We somehow not remembering, we don't know who we truly are, because you explained, right? Through, because as when you look in a mirror, you look at yourself, you look at as a physical being.
Yeah. In the sense of like being a human, we can practice self-love in many ways. Like for me, one of the biggest ways is like boundaries, having
Setting boundaries.
placing boundaries, and being authentic, you know, choosing yourself, speaking up. And
so how do you think one can choose themselves in a situation? What is the practice that you can literally put your hand on your heart and say, okay, today I made a choice, or I did something, or I heard something, and I choose myself instead of choosing them? Because in a daily practice, what I realized that also my clients, that they think they love themselves to a certain extent, but when it comes the choice, when there is a time to choose yourself by showing up for yourself, and could be boundaries, as you said it yourself, or could be just toward a protection, or just toward, or if you are going through an emotion, instead of letting it go, you make a decision, you love yourself, and you give yourself that 1 minute of acknowledging that you are there for yourself.
yeah. So basically, it's feeling into yourself, like I don't know, like how are you feeling within yourself? One of the most powerful practices I use with myself, and that really changed everything for me, and it comes down to decisions, is like, you know, when you have to make a decision, you ask yourself, like, is this a fuck yes for me? And if it's anything less than that, then it's a no.
I love it.
And it's kind of extreme, but when you are like in this, when you are taught to be a people pleaser, or, you know, codependent, then you have to like be a little extreme.
Correct. Yeah, you're absolutely right, because obviously the self-love is not just sometimes, but it's the everyday, how we actually show up for ourselves. Even
Yes.
just a little thing. So it doesn't need to be something amazing or something large, or a massive major thing, because the self-love, especially for someone who never was able to really realize that the core base is self-love, for some, just to loving themselves a bit, that's already a big step.
Yeah. And so this is an amazing practice, and you can always like ask yourself for whatever, you know, decision you have to make, like, is this a fuck yes for me? And then you will know.
I love it. That is
and
so cool.
it's also like, it happened to me, like today I was trying to decide on something, and you know, I was playing small, and I was kind of settling, and then I was like, wait a minute, is this a fuck yes? It's a no. So
That is so amazing. I really love that. You
yeah.
see, just with that, if even just choosing a dress, for example, you know, when you have an occasion, you're going out, and you can't choose, and then as you said, if you say that, fuck yes, that's me, I am the one, I love myself, I don't care, especially as you said it, that in an authentic way. So then
Yeah.
we make a choice whether I just put this ordinary dress, a cocktail dress that everybody wears because it's suitable by the society that we've been taught, or I'm just going to show up for myself today and I'm just going to put a dress that probably I never done it, but you know what, because that's how I feel like it today and I love myself so much, I'm just going to show up for myself and see how I feel.
Yeah.
And even though you might feel uncomfortable because it's something unusual, so this is the cultivation when it comes, that
Yeah.
we have to feel some at the beginning very uncomfortable. So I remember when I had a client and she said, well, I don't love myself because this, that, because what we do, that we literally, we criticize and judge ourselves so much. And because we are not good enough for ourselves, because I don't have a hair like that, the body like that, the makeup, whatever. And then we judge ourselves and then we cultivate not loving ourselves. Instead of, you know what, I have this because the God gave it to me. So why can't I just be happy with that? Oh, but because the society also teaching us, well, look at that. Look at that other person. Look at how beautiful. I'm never going to be like that. So we compare ourselves. We create the inner talk, the negative inner talk. I cannot put this dress. I mean, look at my bum. You know, just
Yeah.
simply said. And so these are actually, we think it's actually not self-love, but these little things that we show up and we say, you know what, I don't care, I'm still gonna put it no matter what, that just shows how much you actually stand up for yourself and how much you show love towards yourself. Because when you put the dress that it might not be the most appropriate for them,
Yeah.
then obviously you show who is more important, them, so they can validate me, or me, who I validate myself to love me, because I love myself more than them, the validation who are not me. So I think these are the bits and bobs that sometimes we forget, because, so, many years ago, I always thought that the self-love also means self-care, which is a part of self-love. Yes, of course, you need to taking care of yourself, go to the gym, eat well, and do your makeup and do some treatment. It's beautiful. But then obviously the other part is that just one part. The real self-love is to go in, to show up in the places where you said yes and now you're going to say no.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, I feel like self-love is more like an inner job. It's more like choosing yourself, and what you said, like self-criticization, comparing yourself and all that. It's actually the opposite of self-love. And yeah, it's being solid within yourself and choosing yourself. And
Yeah.
yeah. So what would you say, like, how did you experience and like cultivate more self-love? How did you maybe overcame a lack of self-love in your life, Zsanett?
Well, the thing is that although I always been, but for me, the self-love was probably 99% self-care instead of self-love. So I did everything
Are you
from the
like
outside.
confused the two? Yeah.
Exactly. Because I had no idea. I
Yes,
didn't
it's it's
know.
it's what most people actually think that
Yeah.
self-love
So
is.
because they validated me, oh, you look great. You go
Yeah.
to the gym. So the more, I had this egoistic love that was very validated from the
Yeah.
outside. And I really thought that that's self-love. But then, when I felt sad or angry, or I didn't show up for myself, and it was that feeling that triggered me, this uncomfortable feeling, I never really showed up for myself. You know, I did everything what was expected from me up until I realized who I am when I started the spiritual journey as well. And then discovering myself, that who am I really? And so when I realized that, ooh, the self-care, it's actually not really self-love. It's beautiful to look beautiful and look after yourself. But then I really never showed up for myself. How many times I said yes when I wanted to say no, or I dress up and I didn't feel comfortable because, I thought that's how it should be. Up until one day, after the big breakup, and I started to feel all these uncomfortable feeling within my guts, within my heart. And then I just remembered what I learned. So if you go within, what does that mean to go within? I didn't even understand. Everybody said, go within, go within. Yeah, go where? How? So, all this natural question was coming up. Where do I go? Okay, so when you meditate, you don't really go in, you are in a very relaxed state. So you are just kind of like floating being. But then the love to go within, to know who you truly are, or what you think of yourself, or who you are, taking all these masks off, that's the difficult part. Because when I finally find out what is go within, searching and trying every moment, and so once I went inside, I had to get out because I just couldn't take that pain. And I said, well, what do you mean I take care of myself? Why is it so painful? And nobody tells you. I mean, we all talk about, pain and go within and be you, but what does it really mean to go within, and how can I sit and where do I look? So this is why we created that through awareness, because the healing through awareness is not from the outside, is right, that what we have discussed, it's literally the inside. So the go within to love yourself is that when you look in a mirror in the morning and you look terribly tired because you had a really rough night, or your hair all over, and then you still look in a mirror and you say, you know what, I don't care, I might look like shit, I still love myself. Well, that's the progress that you need to do every day, peeling off all the triggers, all the pain, and loving yourself, even when you're ugly. Yes, why not? Even when you're ugly, even when you're big, even when you look horrible. And that's the self-love, right?
Yeah, I mean, we actually are never ugly. We just feel ugly. Or
We
not
create
that,
this illusion of ugliness then.
yeah,
To
not that
correctly.
beautiful. But yeah, that's what I do every morning, no matter how I look. The first thing, I stand in front of a mirror and I say, I love you. You are beautiful.
Exactly. And even that, I always say to my clients who never did the mirror exercise, which is a very beautiful one, or for example, some of those ladies who I treat, they said, but I don't know how I love myself. And I said, so the best way also in an NLP is called the modeling. So is there any particular person who you admire, but you don't admire from the outside, but you admire how he actually expresses, how he talks. You could just literally feel that magnetic energy that is actually coming from the person. Because what happens, that not many people said, that when you start to love yourself so deeply and accept yourself, you become literally magnetic to others, because you emanate this beautiful energy towards others. They don't know what is it. They said, oh, you are different, but they have no idea what is it. And the beauty about this is that when you explain to the clients, so it is hard, it's a journey, it's an everyday journey, but when you get there, this is what's going to happen. So the result is that you become magnetic, and instead of you obsessing about others, you're going to be so obsessed about yourself that you wouldn't even care.
Yeah.
And that's when the magnetism comes.
Yeah.
And so basically, yeah, the modeling. So I usually say, if there is anyone particular that you admire, then look how that person is, and maybe you model it. You pick up and then you cultivate that originality to yourself while you do the work.
Yeah.
And it works. It works. This is how I started many years ago. Good, look in a mirror, look in your eyes and say, I love yourself. And then you say, no, I don't. And I can tell you right now why I don't love myself. But then, of course, eventually you do, because as we have spoken about, that the mind, the brain doesn't know the difference, whether it's true or not. So at the beginning, sometimes we do have to lie to ourselves until we start to believe. And once we start to believe, we start to feel, and that's when you are on a good way.
Yeah.
So how do you show up for yourself on a daily basis? Is there any typical particular routine that you use daily, Viktoria?
Well, not really. I mean, it's like choosing yourself, being authentic. For me, one of the biggest is really on the mental level, like being disciplined and you know, like
Accepting
just
yourself as it comes.
accepting, and also like being disciplined. Like I don't go into too much negativity because I can spiral. Like
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a major problem with everyone, because especially when there is a huge event or a job interview, or there is a project you need to prepare. And so obviously this is when we also need to show up for ourselves. You know, how confidently you can actually express yourself, sell yourself, a pitch. And these are all triggers uncomfortable feeling. This is when they say that you need to cultivate feeling comfortable in an uncomfortable moment. It's also to say, and calming your nervous system down while you're having this stress, because this is stress to prepare and be someone that you never did, or do something that you never did before, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because my biggest major problem was, and sometimes I still do, is when you say that you do something, we have to do it.
Oh.
And sometimes it's, they call it procrastination. It's not really procrastination. It's just sometimes maybe you don't put enough of attention what you said. Sometimes we say things so loud, and this is where the journaling comes. So we say, are we going to do, and we just do half of them, but at least you started. So then the appreciation, not judgmental, not being so judgmental towards yourself, say, okay, I maybe haven't finished that, but I had the right reason. I still started, and I will finish it up. Because we beat ourselves all the time. Okay, I remember my father used to say, what you can leave today, don't leave it for tomorrow. And that has created a stress within myself that I didn't even realize it exists. Because when I had a huge project and I had like a 1 week to prepare, and I had still, on the last day came and there was still so much to do, and I was working and I was stressing because I had to finish that up. So instead of being there for yourself. So these are the little things that we don't realize. We have to be there for ourselves, to say, you know what, have a break. It is a project you need to finish up, but have a break, calm down, do it slowly. Put a music on maybe, or nobody tell you. The only thing I knew, you have to finish up. Otherwise, you pay consequences, for example. So everything was punishment and consequences for not showing up for yourself, that it's a natural thing to do.
Yeah.
to loving ourselves and always being there. And if you stress, then our job, if you don't feel comfortable, to sit down, and that's when we go in.
Yeah, yeah, and it's another thing about responsibility that we have been conditioned like in a total um off way and taught what is actually responsibility. The first responsibility we have is towards ourselves, first and foremost. And it's actually something that happened last week. For example, with the session, I was like feeling off and I had some personal stuff. And, that was self love for me. Like, saying we will postpone today's
Yeah,
session,
yeah.
for example. Yeah.
Yeah, because you are absolutely right. I think we have been really taught since childhood that love everyone, be there for everyone except for yourself. But then
Yeah.
imagine when you are in a plane, when there is an emergency exit, what they say first: put the
Yeah.
mask on yourself first
Yeah.
before you can save others.
Yeah.
And so we've been somehow kind of totally taught in a really, really bad way. And
Yeah.
I'm
It
not
got mixed up.
surprised. Yeah. When they said, what do you mean I love myself more than you? You love yourself more. Oh my God, what a selfish girl. So you see what I mean? I mean, this
Yeah.
is what we've been taught all our life.
Yes. And actually, the self love we are talking here is not like being, narcissistic or selfish, or it's not in a bad way, but it's honoring yourself. And when you actually love yourself and honor yourself, and when you have self love, you actually have love for others.
Uh,
It goes
Thank
both
you.
ways.
Absolutely. This is so beautifully said. And this is the truth of all.
Yeah.
If you can't love yourself truly, 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 and show up for yourself, how can you even teach your children or show, sample to anyone how to love when you don't do it yourself?
Yeah.
We all talk about what is love. Do you know what is love? Do you know what is love? Do you know what? But no one really knows what love is. That's it's sometimes we really need to sit down and really need to ask this question: what is really love? How does love show up for me, and how do I really take care when I should? So
Yeah.
the question is, do I really love myself, or do I love everyone else? Just myself, I get last.
Yeah. And I
And
love,
so please go ahead.
yeah, and I love how you said like about that self love is actually, it takes practice, and it happens in layers, and because we have been conditioned, so um, we have been conditioned with all types of things that
Yeah,
we need to actually peel away to get to that
yeah,
core uh, core self and self love and everything. So I just remembered, like, for me, my personal experience, for example, is like I was dating this guy who was I don't want to say like narcissistic, but he was like aggressive and pushy and everything. So I
Pastor
had to
Banda.
really learn how to set boundaries, and it took me like a year and a half to really be solid. And once I was able to hold a boundary and say, like, because this was a person who would push boundaries, and and I would like say, sorry, this
Enough.
doesn't work for me. And be loving toward him and toward myself, be respectful and everything. And it's all it took. He was gone after that. So, you know
And so you said it well, because I think this is the second part of the self-love, that what happens, that when we start to really truly set those boundaries, what you did, and you finally, you grow and you become brave and realize who is more important, myself or these people, this person manipulating or talking to me in a way that is not appropriate. Who do I choose? Because every time when we choose themselves, what we do to ourselves, we put ourselves less and less and less. And then instead of cultivating love, we're cultivating hate towards ourselves. And so just by doing what you said, this is the only way. And the negative part for others to realize, when you start to love yourself, you will lose people around you, because the one who's been disrespectful, or who was manipulating you, or he had these narcissistic traits or whatever, once you set those boundaries, once you set and you make a decision to stand up for yourself, they will not respect that. And that will just show you that, you know, it was about time, and they will go. And once they go, you just say, thank you so much. This person should have never been in my life. But we have to grow to this.
Yeah.
You know, nobody tells us.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing. Like, I would like get upset and I would react, you know, when someone would push my boundaries, or for example, with this guy, you know, I would react and get angry and, you know, lash out or something. But when you actually cultivate this self-love and become solid with your boundaries, then you respond. You can stay calm and calmly like work through the situation, you know.
And girl, when you get there and that person is shaking and looking at your face, that you have no reaction, and they look at you and say, what? This
They
girl
were
was
like, who is
shouting,
this?
screaming. And now you just look and I say, you know what? I think this is when you realize this is basically what everybody needs to see. Because when you do that, because you know, it's not some of course you love yourself bit by bit, but when you change the reaction of this event that you had and how you used to react, and you react totally differently, that's like bingo.
Yeah.
You know. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, amazing.
So
And also, like, I want to say a few other things for me. For example, I did have to like cut off some relationships, um, you know, for in order to respect myself and out of self-love, because they were not healthy. And it's like with everything else, you know, activities, people, even like a job that's draining you, you know, everything. It literally goes into every segment of your life.
absolutely, absolutely. This is not just in a relationship, but it's everywhere. And
Yeah.
so exactly this is what happened to me. Once you
Yeah.
set boundaries, once you finally know who you are and what you want in life, and we have to take a drastic step towards that. That what it means that yes, we will lose people. That's the part of this, because the person who really truly loved you, who respect you, will be still there for you. And if they are not there, it's because they never been the person for you. And that just, I always say, thank you so much, God, for showing me that I was able to see now. It doesn't matter. The good news is that once you're ready to make the change through healing, then every step of the way you need to recognize and love yourself for every little step you take, to realize how actually you are growing, how big you're becoming. You know, so then the recognition of making those choices are the ones that they actually give you momentum. and the momentum is the one that creates you. So
Amazing.
beautiful, Victoria. Well done, girl. So, in terms of this question, if anybody would want to ask anything else, because we have spoken, Victoria, would you like to say what we have spoken about? That this is our 6th session now, and from here on, we're gonna divert some subject towards spirituality as well. About
yeah, we actually planned to do 6 of these healing through awareness sessions. So we are at the final session now, and we had this conversation that we might dive more into like God consciousness, creation, spirituality, like bringing in
discover
more,
other parts,
yeah, bringing in more of that like higher consciousness
consciousness,
stuff, yeah, because we believe that this is what's needed for everyone to learn about creation and to get empowered and step into the to remember and step into the true role.
yeah, because healing is just the one part, but then the other part is that the manifestation, the creation of creating that extraordinary life, which means health, wealth, love, joy, peace and harmony, because the healing, it's a daily life that obviously challenges will come up. But now through spirituality, through consciousness, through creation, we could tackle those daily challenges, which is great. And we go that way now. So we're going to open up a different windows or different doors to this healing through awareness. It will be knowing your awareness now, rather than who you truly are. Instead of knowing the healings, the pain, the beliefs, the thoughts, we can now go expand a bit more further, which will be quite amazing.
We could name these series Know Thyself.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So,
do you want to add anything to this, or
no, just to see if there is, I think we quite deeply covered the base, basically coming from how we can see it, how we could perhaps tackle it. The tools that we would probably give in this case would be basically do the mirror kind of like affirmations, daily affirmations, realize whatever comes in, right? Negative thoughts, convert them until you believe in them, show up for yourself, basically. Modeling others who you feel you are kind of relate to. So then if you are a more nervous person and you want to be a calmer one, then model it to how they are and then go within and cultivate that within yourself so you can expand or emanate from outside. And so you become a beautiful magnetic person.
Yeah, it's literally the picture I put on Facebook group, like self-love is like you become magnetic. Self-love is the biggest
equal magnetism, self-magnetism.
Yeah.
Yeah, because also obviously it's just an announcement that will hopefully come up next week, that what I did, that this healing through awareness gave me this kind of like creativity to create an ebook based on healing through awareness. It will be called Queen's Rising. So basically, these are healing and guidance for women who want to reclaim their power, exactly for this breakup, divorce, or maybe those who are single, not able to make the step because their heart is still closed, and the ones who are in a relationship, but they don't have the courage to make the step towards their new life. So
Love it.
that will be out soon as well. So
Amazing.
so now we go to the next chapter.
So
In our life.
excited.
Me too.
Good for you. So yeah.
So would you like to add something, Victoria, to this subject, or anything for closing?
No, for closing, I would say, like, always ask yourself, is this a sacred yes for you, or is this a no? Really check in with yourself. Always choose yourself, love yourself, and yeah.
Yes.
Affirm, even
The
on
only
those
thing I would
bad
like
days.
to yes.
Even on the bad days, like, everyone has bad days.
Oh yes, sure. That's just the life of, that's just how we it's
Yeah.
we have feelings, we are human, so we will have bad days.
Especially in those bad days, like, really learn to love yourself and accept yourself, and also, like, as for me, like, I have to be disciplined with my mind.
And not being judgmental.
Yeah.
I think if we just all take the judgment towards ourselves, the
That's a big one.
criticism, just criticize yourself, don't criticize, and then just let it be, and then
That's a
just look
huge
at
one.
things as they are. I think that's already enough. It's the first
That's
step.
like 50%
Exactly,
already.
50% is already done just by not criticizing and judging yourself.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Lovely. So we're gonna all
Amazing.
close it all in, and obviously next week is gonna be a totally different subject.
Yeah. We're gonna
we're
let
gonna-
you know in advance
Precisely.
what we
And
chose.
we always ask anyone if any subject or anything you wish to discuss or have questions, perhaps,
Yeah.
just let us know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we can always do a Q&A session, whoever is ready to take it further. Okay.
Amazing. Yeah.
Lovely.
Thank you for
Thank you
being
so
here.
much, my dear.
Really
And I'll
love
see
this
you
one.
next week.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.